Oh, that looks nice.
Hell yeah. I know the guy who animated that, the great Bill Plympton. Well,
Yeah.
what has happened, everybody? James Hancock here. Today we have a special video in store for you where Adam Rackoff and I are going to be talking with animation icon Bill Plympton about his debut feature film, The Toon, which is now available on Blu-ray thanks to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and their restoration. But more importantly, the fine folks over at Deaf Crocodile and Vinegar Syndrome. And I'm going to leave a link down in the description below where people can hunt down and buy the film on Blu-ray, which I should also add features a commentary track with me and Adam Rackoff basically vomiting praise on Bill for the full running time of the film. But Mr. Plympton, how the hell are you? And yeah, it's great to see you in the flesh.
Good. I didn't know. I just got mine last week. I didn't know you guys had commentary on there. Now I definitely want to watch that. That
nice. All right. Well, I guess we kind of managed to sneak that by when they suggested we do it. I was like, well, if Bill signs off and says it's cool, then I guess they never asked. So surprise, surprise, we did the commentary track. And I should mention that here is the Blu-ray. I actually have 2 copies of the Blu-ray, and it's beautiful. And it's gorgeous, and yeah, I strongly recommend everybody.
There's one with a limited edition slipcover sleeve that's only available at vinegarsyndrome.com, and I think there's only 2,000 copies of that version produced. Still some available. They should check that out. But there's also a wider release version that's going to be available on Amazon and on Deaf Crocodile's website as well.
Yeah, that's the link that I'm going to share in the description below. But let's just go ahead and dive right in. In recent years, Adam and I have had the privilege of working with Bill on some of his shorts and features, but let's wind the clock all the way back to the early 90s. Adam and I were still in high school, but Bill, describe for people out there where you were in your career as an animator at that time prior to getting started on this film, and what advice would the seasoned pro of 2024 give to the fresh-faced youth of the early 90s before embarking on his first feature film?
Let me get the first part. Let me answer that, and then if I forget the second part, fill me in.
I'll remind you.
Yeah. So I was an illustrator. I'm from Oregon originally, but I moved to New York in 1969, and the animation was dead then. There was no animation. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do animation. So I became an illustrator. I did caricatures, comic strips, gag cartoons, illustrations for a lot of the magazines, New York Times and New Yorker, and a lot of magazines, a lot of men's magazines, Penthouse, Playboy, people like that. Yeah. But I still had that urge to make animation, and then this woman who I was doing a brochure for said, we got this Jules Pfeiffer song. We want you to do a music video for that. I said, oh, that's great, but I don't know how to do animation. I don't know the technical side. So they hired this woman, Connie D'Antonio, to supervise me as I made the film, and I'd say, so where do I get my film? Where do I get a camera stand? Where do I get all this stuff? And so the film was called Boomtown, and it was a big hit. It was in theaters all over the country. So I really felt emboldened to do my own film, make a film that has my ideas and my humor. And that film was Your Face. And the film was shockingly, I remember when we screened it the first time. Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Proudly framed and mounted on my wall for everybody to enjoy when they come.
That's a classic. That's a hard one to get. Nobody has that one except you. And so I remember the first screening of it. It was raucous. I mean, people went crazy for the film. They were laughing and everything. And afterwards, they said, "Did you make that Your Face film? Was that yours?" I said, "Yeah, that's mine." And they said, "Let's go out and have a drink and talk animation." I went, finally. I'm 40 years old, and I finally get an entree into the animation business. So I did a whole bunch of shorts. One of Those Days, How to Kiss, 25 Ways to Quit Smoking, Plymptons, a bunch of other films, and I put them together on a video cassette. And you got to get a show a video cassette.
Oh, I got a DVD here of Plympton right here. Yeah, I've actually got a pretty decent-sized physical media collection now of Bill Plympton films, but I'm thrilled to now start adding some Blu-rays to the library.
Way to go. And so I put them on a video cassette, and I realized in 60 minutes, I did a feature film in the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, I could actually make a feature film with its own story. So I talked to Maureen McKelleran, who is my musician partner. We played in bars and clubs. I played pedal steel. She sang, and said, let's make a musical like Yellow Submarine, only with American music. And she said, yeah, because she loves the old roots American music, like Delta blues, country, western, surfing music, all that stuff, jazz. And so we tried to shop it around, but nobody went for it, even though I was nominated for an Oscar for Your Face. People thought it was too adult. Who's going to want to buy it? There's no kiddie songs in there. So I said, well, let's just do it. Unfortunately, by this time, I was making money on commercials because of my success with the Your Face film. And I did a NutraSweet commercial and a bunch of films, Geico, stuff like that. So I had enough money to finance the film myself, and I wanted to do it so bad I didn't care. I'd finance it myself. So we hired all these musicians, and we did the music, and we did the animation. And what do we do now? And right that time, Sundance was getting very hot. Sundance was the place to go. And so I entered the film in Sundance, and we got in. I think we were the first animated feature film to get in, because nobody was doing independent animated films back then. And am I boring you? Am I going on?
Not at all.
No.
I think people often neglect to mention when discussing that early crop of Sundance luminaries that emerged in the early 90s. They talk about Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino and Steven Soderbergh and so on and so forth. For me, in that Hall of Fame of indie filmmakers to emerge alongside like Hal Hartley and everybody, Bill Plympton is the guy that I always include in the mix.
No, it was crazy. We were the year after Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and that was the year I think it broke for them. And I remember going to the filmmakers luncheon. They had Redford would gather all the filmmakers there. We have lunch and get to meet each other. This nerdy guy came running up to me. Bill Plympton, oh my God, I've seen all your films. You're the best. How did you do that one of those days? What was the concept? Where did you, he's asking all these technical questions about it. And it turned out it was Tarantino. He was there with Graveyard or
Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody knew who he was until they showed the film.
Yeah.
And everybody was freaking out then. Reservoir Dogs film. Overnight, he became a celeb. I mean, that's where he really was great. And we hang out occasionally, but he's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, so we don't hang out that much. But whenever we're in a festival, we go out and have drinks. But it was where the tune really broke out. We got a distribution by October Films.
Nice.
They saw it. They had really good taste. The other films they chose were really great films. They were
they restored Touch of Evil. They released Lost Highway. I mean, they were incredible back in the 90s.
Yeah, they did really good taste in film. So I felt kind of honored. They had no money. That was a bummer. And but I said, well, at least we'll get around, and maybe we'll do really well in the box office, and I'll make my money. But it never happened. And that's sort of a lesson with these distributors, especially the low budget ones. They do it for love. They don't do it for the money. And I didn't care because the film was actually fairly successful, and it really got my name out there. And here I am, coming out on Blu-ray. And
speaking of which, I have the fully restored Blu-ray restoration trailer all queued up and ready to go. So for the next 90 seconds, everybody sit back and enjoy the show as we revisit the tune.
My love for you is equal to a worn-out shoe. Nah, my love for you is like a cobweb hanging around. Da-da-da-da-da. My love for you is like a velvet crying clown.
Positively the worst piece of trash I have ever heard in my entire career.
You left me for the open road. Where you went I didn't know, but now Thank you very much.
Isn't it
Love you,
good
baby.
again? Isn't it right again? When you were gone, I'd count the days.
Thank you, Mayor.
Way you'll promise me you'll never leave. Isn't it good again? Isn't it right again?
Why am I watching this?
Lost?
No, I just don't know where I am.
The true path is not to be found outside, but within you.
Me, though, darling, I've forgiven you. I can't forget what we've been through alive, alone.
Maureen has written many great songs for your
Yes.
movies, but that song playing throughout that trailer gives me goosebumps
Yeah.
every time, and it's one
That's
of
my favorite one of her songs. Is "Isn't It Good Again"? I hum that in the shower almost every morning.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But how does it feel? All right, so back to my original question of seasoned pro Bill Plympton with nearly 100 films and shorts under your belt. Looking back at you at that time, what advice would you say before getting started on your debut feature?
Well, I have what's called Plimpton's Dogma. I think you heard of this dogma. And these are 3 rules to be a success in animation, whether it's short or feature. Rule number 1 is make your film short, especially a short film. Don't make a 20-minute film, 30-minute film. Nobody's going to watch it. I don't want to watch it. Make a 5-minute film. People love that. That's a great length at 3 minutes. Number 2, make it cheap. My films are about $1,000 a minute. And I do that because I do everything in the film except the voices and the music. So if you can keep the budget to $1,000 a minute, it'll be so much easier to make a profit. Number 3, make it funny. If you want to make a hardcore political film, go ahead, but no one's going to want to watch it.
How dare you?
It bears your soul to the world. Go ahead, no one's going to want to watch it.
Well, speaking of keeping it funny, I've got one more cell I want to share.
Okay.
This might be one of the first times I've seen nudity on this channel, but here is a cell from one of your funnier movies, which I think this is the first cell that I ever bought from you when we first started working together. But I Married a Strange Person was the first movie or the first feature by you that I saw. I saw your face on a Leonard Maltin compilation of animated shorts. But but the Bill Plympton Dogma, they're very wise words. But Adam, I feel like I'm hogging all the oxygen. Do you have a question for the great Bill Plympton?
James mentioned that the Academy Film Archive restored this film, and they've done this for a number of your films now, which is great. So they're being, preserved, and that's very important because films like these, especially if they're shot on film, as this one was, the film deteriorates, right? It gets the vinegar syndrome, as the distributor is called, and I think a lot of people don't realize, younger people probably, that when you made this film, of course, they know that you hand drew it, but they may not realize that there were no scanners back then to scan your drawings. Right. Can you go into a little bit of the process back then for shooting on 35 millimeter your artwork and then kind of assembling that into a motion picture? Yeah, I'll do even more. It was okay. When I saw this film, I remembered the technique I used, and it's a very weird technique. I would do the drawing on animation bond, just regular black and white paper, and then I would Xerox it onto colored paper. Oh. And then, or I would watercolor it. That would be the 2 ways I would color it. And then when I did that, I would take an X-Acto knife and cut around the drawing, not cutting into the black. So it's very delicate. It's very, very precise. And then I would glue it on a cell, clear cell, so you wouldn't block the background out. So it was a very laborious project, and I would spend hours and hours just watercoloring these drawings, cutting it out with an X-Acto knife, and then gluing it on a cell. And very rarely do people do that technique. It's just so labor intensive, but it gives it a great feeling of great quality that is very, very different.
And then when you get that done, then I had a cameraman, John. I forgot his name. It'll come to me. And he would take the film, the drawings rather, and shoot them on a camera. And then we would take the film to
Did John Donnelly?
John Donnelly. Thank you. John
Was it
Donnelly.
one of those Acme animation camera setups where the camera was pointing down?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Big honking camera with all these dials and
Right.
controls and everything. I think it was computer assisted though.
Okay.
They
All right.
use computers. So then we take it to the lab. We get the film back. We look at it, and then we take it to our editor. I didn't edit it. I don't have a Steam Deck or anything like that. And he would put all these shots together, and that was very laborious too because it took so long. And as you know, with the digital editing now, it's just you want a sound, you just push a button, you get a different sound right there. And it's just editing is so much easier now with the digital technology.
So there's no fetishization or kind of nostalgia for 35 millimeter.
Zero.
As a viewer, I love it when I go to like the film forum and I can see the texture of a 35 millimeter print as it's playing. But obviously, when it comes to cost and labor,
survival.
Yeah, you can lose that nostalgia pretty damn quick.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, Tarantino can afford to shoot on 35. I can't. Even though animation is basically one-on-one shooting. In other words, every shot that I do is the only shot for that one sequence, so I don't have a choice. But it's saved my life because before 80% of my budget went to technical needs. Now, 10% of my budget goes to technical needs, and the rest goes to the artists. And that's the way it should be. I think that the technical side is really minimized, whereas the art is maximized. In that.
Would you, if you were to guess with some of your distinguished peers and rivals, would you assume they have a similar split between the physical cost versus the talent involved?
Back then, I'm talking about the 90s, around 2000, then everything went technical, with together.
Yeah, it's like when Bob Dylan went electric. Bill Plympton eventually went.
That's a good.
But all that work paid off because you shot on 35 millimeter film, as we said, it was they were able to scan at a very high resolution all of the original camera negative, and all of that beautiful detail that you just described, all the handmade artwork has sort of come through in this new scan that you can see on this Blu-ray. So I really think people are seeing the best quality version of the tune probably ever seen with this new restoration on Blu-ray. So it just, as we said in our
DVD for the side-by-side comparison, but the Blu-ray dominates.
It's just a stunning Blu-ray, and I hope people can really give it another look if they haven't seen it in 32 years. This is the time to do it.
There is one bit of trivia. I will release to you that nobody else knows about this. There is actually one penis in the movie.
Oh,
one frame, and I think
you know the time code so that we can freeze frame and look for it.
And it's on the dance all day, where he's changing all his clothes, his swimming suit, and there's a scene there where you can see it. It's not very detailed, obviously.
See his little ding-a-ling. Well, I'll go searching for it once we're through recording. But I have a few questions from social media. I posted last night that we were doing this recording. A few people reached out. So Mackenzie Lambert, a.k.a. @CinemaMac, asked, love that he uploaded his music video for Bird is the Word by the Trashmen. Any chance you'll upload Who's That Girl or Don't Download This Song? I guess this is as good a time as any to plug and promote your YouTube channel where John Holderried has been uploading a lot of your classics.
Yes. Yeah, that's out of my hands, really. I don't. Who's That Girl? I don't know who owns that, but I only animated parts of it. I didn't do the whole thing, but that's beautiful, beautiful animation. But definitely for the Weird Al and Kanye West and those Bird is the Word, we have to get permission from the music people.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, well, give old Kanye a call. He seems to have a lot of time on his hands these days. But we have another
Hey,
question.
listen, I have a lot of respect for him. He is a very talented guy. You know, socially he's a little weird, but boy, he came into my studio and was sort of directing my animation as I was drawing it, and it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, the music video absolutely kicks ass. Well, we have another question from Jabber/Oppressor, aka @MandTBrian. He writes, out of all the songs written and composed for the film The Tune, which one do most audience members end up remembering the most?
Isn't it good again?
Yeah.
The country western song. And we got Larry Campbell, who's one of the great pedal steel players in the city. He did the pedal steel on that, and I sing that song so many times in the shower. It won't get out of my head. That's my favorite.
Yeah, they just really let that song rip. The vocals are incredible, and my heart soars. Although I do love at the very end when he finally gets the line that's missing that he needs to finish his little jingle, and the whole song comes together, because I feel like at that point the whole movie and its kind of operatic crescendo starts to lift up and soar, and it's a killer climax.
Yeah, I think the story would make a great play, a musical play. I think it would be really fun to pursue that. We have had a couple of queries about it, but nothing ever happened. But
Cherry Lane Theater, that would be a great venue in the West Village for the stage version.
I've been there. I think that's where I've seen Mike Birbiglia perform. Really funny guy. A comedian, Mike Birbiglia. It's really great, really funny guy. Yeah.
All right, well, I've got one more question from the social media from Ken Russell Dogma, aka @Mikhail Bakhtia1, where he writes, are you planning on re-releasing any more Dreams of a I'm sorry, let me reread this. Are you planning on re-releasing any more Dreams of a Rabbit Fiend? They're all stellar and all ripe for reappraisal, which I think you could help happen. Also, are there any future plans for Blu-rays of your work?
I don't know about the Blu-rays. I can't afford to do it. Hopefully, Deaf Crocodile will do some of the other films, and I think they're definitely possible. There's some great films there. Can I tell you a little story about?
Our time is yours. Lay it on us.
It's called I Married a Strange Person. I was in Sundance again for I Married a Strange Person. And the audience was really loving the film. Great audience response, lots of applause, lots of laughter. It's probably my most outrageous film.
I love it.
And but nobody was stepping forward to buy it, to distribute the film. It was really tough to sell that film. And so I was on the bus. You know, Sundance, they have a bus that drives around all the ski lifts and all the theaters. And I saw the guy from Lionsgate Films, Tom. I forget his last name, the head of Lionsgate. And I knew him. I met him at a party. And so I go up to him and say, hey, Tom, I'm Bill Plympton. I got this film here. You got to see. It's really, people loving it. It's funny. It's crazy. It's animated. And he says, I'm sorry, Bill, but I got too many films to see. I just don't have a minute to see anything else. I got stacks of movies to watch like that. So I'm sorry, maybe another time. And just then the doors to the bus open and this guy steps on the bus, and he's a snowboarder. He had a big snowboard, the typical knit hat with snow coming. I must have made a dive into the snow. Snow was dripping down his face and down his suit and his hands, and he was dripping water everywhere. And he goes, dude, you're Bill Plympton. Oh, man, I Married a Strange Person. That film kicked ass. Keep up the good work. And then he popped out of the bus and he was gone. He went down the hill. I go, what the heck was that?
It almost would be like if someone were conspiratorial would suspect that you had planted him there in advance.
I should have.
You should. Smart idea.
He looked at me and said, I guess I better look at your film. He looked at it and he bought it for a good chunk of money, and I even got a royalty check.
Nice.
The first royalty check I've ever gotten from a studio.
Wow.
Oh, that movie makes me laugh
I wish
so
I knew
hard.
that guy. I would give him some money or some drawings or something.
Absolutely. Make him a partner for life.
Maybe he's listening.
Yes. Get in touch with me, please.
Well, years ago, when you and I were just getting involved with me being one of your producers on Cheatin', when I was trying to basically convince everybody that I wasn't completely insane for getting involved, I would show them scenes from A Married a Strange Person, and I would show them the cow who wanted to be a hamburger.
Oh, right.
But the scene that I always show them from A Married a Strange Person is like, "Would you love me if I forgot your birthday?" Da, da, da.
Oh, yeah.
But that whole song, the first time I saw it, I laughed so hard I was like convulsing and throwing myself bodily off the couch, and I had to rewind it, watch it again, rewind it, watch it again.
Wow.
It's so damn funny, so damn sexy,
Thank
and the
you.
music's so catchy. So
Yeah.
as much as I love the tune, it was I Married a Strange Person where my love affair for your work really took
Yeah,
hold.
let's hope that's the next one that goes to Blu-ray. That would be nice.
Craig Rogers, Dennis Bartok, if you're listening, I Married a Strange Person, Mutant Aliens. Let's do it.
Definitely a classic.
And if you need some more commentary tracks, Adam and I
Yes.
stand at the ready. Well,
Great.
Adam, I've got a few more questions, but do you have anything you want to ask Bill?
I just want to follow up on or elaborate on, as you probably have heard, there's been a lot of backlash as of late regarding streaming platforms really in the last year or so, because prices are going up. They're starting to add commercials. Sometimes notable films are just disappearing from platforms entirely, or in worst case scenarios, they're censoring certain scenes or changing movies. And so I think as a result, physical media like this release of the tune, it's been sort of having a new heyday. Collectors are saying, I got to own the movies that I love because I can't guarantee they're going to be out there in a digital form forever. And even your catalog, I know, was at one point up on Shout Factory's site, and now it's gone. It's like, so people really should own the films they love. And a lot of directors like Christopher Nolan have been talking about this lately in interviews, how that we as fans of films are sort of the caretakers of those films. And by owning a physical copy and having it on your bookshelf, just like your favorite novel, like that sort of as a way of passing it down or sharing it with another person if they've never seen a Bill Plympton film. Hey, borrow my copy of the tune. You have to watch this. And I think that it's really important that your work, you have such an incredible body of work, have a sort of physical media collection available for the world. So hopefully there are distributors out there willing and excited to do that in the future, because you have such a great body of work, but they could all disappear from a streaming platform tomorrow. And then where are they? Where can people go to find them? So
I back that up 100%. I much prefer watching it on either Blu-ray or regular DVD.
Right.
Because you can, follow the voiceover track and Terry and all the ancillary stuff that comes
exactly. Special features. Yeah. Bonus features. Yeah.
So Adam, you mentioned Christopher Nolan. It reminded me, I guess it was Bill, would it have been January or February of 2014 or 15 when you and I were at Slam Dance? And then a surprise appearance, Christopher Nolan showed up for a little Q&A with all the participants in Slam Dance. So Bill and I were sitting there like 5 feet from Nolan because he had his first film following debut to 11 people showing up. And then here he was, not that much. I guess we were speaking with him right around the time of Dark Knight Rises. But I remember somebody asked, like, what's the secret getting from following an 11 people up to like the Dark Knight only like 9 years later? And he said, there's no secret. It's just a lot of really, really hard work. And I was like, it was just very refreshing seeing him to say, like, it's not about being brilliant or necessarily that great talent, all that talented, but just putting in the hours, putting in the grind, putting your nose to the grindstone. So getting back to your career and looking back, I guess, like I mentioned before, you're at nearly 100 credits on IMDb as a director, which is just a staggering achievement. I want to know about what the future holds. What do you have cooking in the oven? What's playing in festivals? Besides Blu-rays, what films are coming out?
The Slide is the big thing, and we just finished it. It's starting to appear in film festivals. We're talking to a couple distributors that seem really interested in it, and I think this film will do very well. It's a very powerful film. The audiences go crazy for it. Like I say, a lot of sustained laughter and applause. And then I'm working on another noir film called City Cats. And this is a buddy of mine, Jeff Danziger, who is a political cartoonist. He's a really great cartoonist. So us working together just kind of made sense. But he wrote it and designed it, and I'm making making all the characters move and animate. But that's like a year off, maybe 2 years off. Who knows how long that's going to take. And I'm up for another Simpsons couch gag, and I'm waiting to hear from the producers there whether they want to go with it or not. I think it's a great idea, but they have their own ideas.
Right.
Is Slide close to the end of its festival run or closer to the beginning of it if people want to try to hunt down?
Beginning. Yeah, what happened was we got a lot of interest from festivals, and these are festivals I want to go to. And so even though the film wasn't done, I said yes, because I want to go to your festival. And they showed it, and it was incomplete, and it got a bad rap for that. So now it is totally finished, and we're doing a few little fixing glitches and stuff, but basically it's finished, and it'll probably do the festival tour for about a year, and then it'll come out in theaters.
Nice. Yeah, I'm fired up to check it out. I mean, I just feel like it seems to encapsulate so many of your stylistic influences musically and that sort of thing. But also, I love that style of animation you're employing. It reminded me a little bit of like Drunker Than a Skunk, which is one of my favorite shorts.
Yes, well, it's a cowboy. I love drawing cowboys, and Drunker Than a Skunk is true cowboy lore.
Well, also you as an animator, whether it's like the exaggerated hats or the guns or the cigars, like there's so much accoutrement for you to get to play with when it comes to adapting cowboys.
Yeah, they're so cliched that's why they're so much fun.
Yeah. Well, are there any final frontiers that you want to conquer? Like, what are your remaining goals? Because I think most people are happy if they can make like their one passion project in your life. But you've made so many passion projects, and you've got this incredible body of work. But like, what is there one more hill that you feel like you want to conquer?
Yeah, there is. It's I think you're familiar with this one. It's Tiffany the Whale. It's a TV series, actually more of a sort of digital TV series, not television, but internet. And it's all written out at 300 pages, and I think that would be really popular. It's very surreal, very dark. It's very adult. And I think that would be very popular if I could get. It's too expensive for me to finance, so I need some investor.
Yeah, you need to get Crunchyroll involved. Crunchyroll's a platform I've only recently discovered, but it's a platform devoted exclusively to animation, mostly Japanese animation, but they have a wide range.
Yeah, I talked to the guy, and he said, "No, we only do Japanese," and so I kind of got put off with that. But they do have good films there, a lot of anime. It's a total anime.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, it's one of the great, I guess, sources of like bragging rights in my life that I get to have my name affiliated with any of your projects, and so I just can't thank you enough for allowing me to take a step into your world over the last like 12 years now. I first met you at 2010 at New York Comic-Con, but I cold called you in the fall of 2011.
Oh, really?
And it was in 2012 when I got introduced to Adam when we started the Kickstarter campaign for Cheatin'. So we've known each other now for over 10 years, which is just crazy to say.
Well, it's good to see you again. I'd love to go to our roof and have a beer and just chat sometime.
I would absolutely love that. I'm pretty sure I was still I still owed you a phone call about a beer date on your roof prior to this, and so it's much easier to find me when it comes to creating content online. But yeah, I would love nothing more than to have a rooftop beer with you sooner rather than later.
Well, thanks for your support. Both of you guys have been really helpful. I mean,
it's our pleasure, Bill.
Yeah, singing the praises of great filmmakers is what we do. So, any final words in terms of social media and where people can find you? Adam, you probably know these details as well as anybody, but where can people give people the full array of options of where they can find Bill's social as well as his Blu-rays and YouTube channel and that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, I know, Bill, you are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I think it's all at Plymptoons, I believe, for most of those. And then you have your Plymptoons website where a lot of artwork and past DVDs and other, fun items are available to purchase. So check that out as well. And
we're selling a lot of the original artwork, like Your Face and Simpsons, and they're really hot. They're very collectible.
Mhm.
And we're running out of them actually. So I hope that's why I'm doing more films, so I can have more artists. That's
Nice.
why I'm not digital. That's why I don't do digital animation, because I love
Yeah, because people can own a piece of your film. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. People don't want a digital copy of a frame. They want the actual drawing in hand. But I remember, for Cheating, it was over 40,000 drawings. So yeah, there were a ton of them. But yeah, they were absolutely gorgeous. But also, just verbally, I want to say, if people go to the Deaf Crocodile official site, and this is the link I'll leave below, but this is where you can find the Toon Blu-ray, both the limited slipcover edition as well as the standard edition.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I strongly encourage people to go over there and check it out. But Bill, have a great trip
There it
tomorrow.
is.
Which film festival are you attending tomorrow?
Alameda in San Francisco. And they're doing a panel with me, a master class, and the screening of Slide.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I'm
Excellent.
going to be
Great.
posting this video today. So if anybody is in the San Francisco area and listening, head over to Alameda. But Adam, any final words before we wrap up?
Everybody gets a drawing. If they come to my show, everybody gets a free sketch. I'll do it.
Very nice. Yeah, I've got autographs and drawings and all kinds of stuff on all this stuff. But yeah, I've been to many Comic-Cons with you, and it's just incredible how people will line up and you will do caricatures and that sort of thing all days. And what I've noticed is that rather than making you tired, it actually makes you energized. It seems like you're at your happiest when you're scribbling away, drawing your fans.
You are correct.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna play the outro, and so give me 1 sec. Here we
Should
go.
I watch the outro?
Yeah, you can watch the outro, and then I will hit end record. Technically, we're still in the video. Boom, boom.